does abuse happen in church?
A lot. The thing is, you know, the church for many years has suppressed women.
Yep.
Even the verses that we quote, I will quote just 2 verses.
Okay.
People must know that I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yes.
And I believe in the Bible. But the Bible, in most cases, it just, you read a verse and then it doesn't explain further. So we need someone who is at a certain spiritual level and someone with wisdom to analyze those verses, because many times people use such verses at their own benefit, you know. Like verses, I will quote just one verse in Proverbs chapter 14, verse 1, which reads, "The wise woman builds her house,
Okay.
but the foolish one tears it down with her own hands." And then there's another verse, which is in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 22, which says, "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord." These are the 2 verses in the church, because women are subjected to abuse, but whenever they go to their leaders or to anyone else in the church and they tell them that I'm being abused by my husband, these are the verses that they quote. Yeah, so though in that manner, even a woman is aware that she is abused. You know, even in our African culture, a woman is raised in such a way that if ungena emshadweni we are told ukuthi kuyabekezelwa. Even it's about time that we review even the things that we say if someone is getting married. You know, there's people about speakers at wedding. The only thing they emphasize ukuthi if they refer to a woman, they say kuyabekezelwa ke emshadweni. So it tells you ukuthi marriage is a painful place to be, so you have to enjoy the pain. So that is why, because a woman doesn't want to be a failure, and even at home a woman, if eyoshada, she is told even by her own family members ukuthi siyakhipha today when you don't want you back. If you fail, you know, you must know that you don't have a space at home anymore. So those are the things and the words that promotes abuse indirectly.
Now, I just want to advise you at home, if you are getting married, don't invite her to be a speaker, because you know what she is going to say, you know, women. But, you know, Zanele, what is good is that I believe, as a man, that we need women like you who are going to emancipate other women, who are going to be a voice of other women who are dying in silence. So that is why I want you to tell us. I want to ask this question. It's very interesting to me. When does love become abuse? I'll explain why I'm saying that. And as a journalist, you have read, maybe when you are doing interview with somebody who has killed a lover, don't they make an excuse, but he bengimthanda, and then sebeyakhala enkantolo ngiyamthanda and stuff like that.
And they open cases and withdraw later.
You know, so that's the part I want us to zoom in with. When does love become abuse?
When there's no peace, when there's no happiness. I believe even the God that we serve is a man of peace.
Right.
So if there is no peace at home, if there is no peace in that marriage, I don't think even God is pleased. That is why as long as we are not happy, as long as we are abused, because maybe let me just emphasize, there are many forms or many kinds of abuse.
I just wanted us to land on that, because if somebody got a exshayizol, and then the following morning he brings a bunch of roses and chocolate and you know, and sparkling wine and all that, and spoil you. How do you balance that? Because this man was abusing you yesterday, but tomorrow, the following day he brings all the stuff. Now, how do you differentiate with uthando abuse law? Let's learn there.
I believe that love is not about material things. Love comes from the heart, and it's all about actions. So,
Thing happened in a family that when people were looking from outside, they thought it was a stable family. Now, I want to come to a point where a woman is being abused ngokushawa physically. Inini la owesifazana oshawayo kufanele decide ukuthi cha sengishawe ngokanele manje sengicabanga ukuthi hayi sengingangena indlela. Iyiphi le level la kufika khona lezo cha sengiyahamba manje.
in fact, I always tell people, ukuthi, you must not, if umuntu slaps you in your face,
Ngempama
that's,
yodwa.
yeah, that's why you must take steps.
Ngempama yodwa.
Because yes, impama
Okay.
yodwa will escalate, the following day will be isibhakela, the following
Right.
day uzokushisa. So the sooner the better, because we've seen people bephuma emshadweni ngebhokisi literally, umuntu aphume seyisidumbu because uhlalile for years ethi no, but because uyangishaya nje, you know, akaze angilimaze, angikaze ngiye esibhedlela. So the earlier the better.
The earlier the better.
Yes.
Now, mhlambe, let's also look at the support of who do you go to for support if you are being abused? Because that is the fear of a lot of women out there. Ukuthi, if I go out, who is the first person? What would be your advice? Where do I go first? You know, do I go to my parents? Do I go to the church? Do I sit down my children and explain to them? You know, what do I do? Do I go to work? Do I get a counselor? What would you advise a person who says, I do not know who to speak to, I am not happy, I want to walk away?
In my experience, most of the women, especially those who are married, they try by all means to protect their families. Like I won't like to tell uma wami ukuthi, hey, by the way, I'm not happy in my marriage because you know sometimes abantu badala and you know ukuthi you don't want ukuthi nabo manje
Baphathwe
end up-
inhliziyo.
yes. So they try by all means to protect their family members and even kids. They don't want to tell them. So it's better to go to someone that you trust, someone that you know that will support her, because another thing that we are facing, even women don't support each other. I've seen some shocking comments from women, even on social media.
Right.
If we talk about women abuse, uthola ukuthi bathi, "Ay, yena ubeyenzeni," you know, because it's like a man must have a reason to beat up a woman or to abuse a woman, whereas there is no reason engenza ukuthi umuntu akashaywe emshadweni. So it's better to go to seek professional help. We have social workers, we have professional counselors, because those people are trained.
Yep.
Even umuntu se abused at any level, they are able to take them one step at a time, because njengoba ngishilo, like I said before, ukuthi it's not easy for someone who's being abused ukuthi athi nje come out, and then it's not easy as people think. So it's better to go to someone who's trained, ozomthatha step by step, and then give her a direction with what to do next. Because opening a case nje okokuqala, it might not help, because we know ukuthi even in police stations we are still facing
Embarrassment.
we're still facing situations where even police officers are not trained. Bazokubuza ukuthi wenzeni wena, I go and speak as a family, you know, you can resolve this, you don't have to open a case. So it's better to go to someone who is a professional counselor or a psychologist.
Okay. I just want to tap into you, because I know that when you introduced this book, you know, and there were serious attacks on
Yeah,
you. There were serious
I'm still
attacks on radio. I think I saw some attacks on Facebook. But you are saying now that they were coming from all sides. But what I noticed, as you said, which I think you must also emphasize on, they were coming from women. A lot of these attacks were coming from women. How did you feel about those attacks? What lesson did you learn in the attacks when you were beginning to break the silence?
At some point, I remember I went to a radio station, Ukozi FM,
Yes,
and I had
that was the time.
Yeah, I had an interview. I think it was Nongabo Mackenzie. Fortunately or unfortunately, she didn't open phone lines. Yeah, so I left. When I left my contact numbers at the end of the interview, I got a message, an SMS, and I think it was from a guy.
Okay.
Because of the tone. because this guy would say, hey, I thought we would be able to phone in because bengifuna ukukutshela ukuthi waze wayidemoni. Because people, when they look at the subject,
Yeah.
they judge or conclude without even
Going through
and read the
reading
book
and find
see
out
what
what
is it
it
about.
is, yes.
Because it divorce, even abantu abadivorcile, many times abafuna ukukhuluma because it is labeled as into
Failure.
ehlazo. Yes, you failed, it's a shame. So even if abantu they've walked through the journey, they don't want to talk about it. So as much as amanyama comments were not, didn't sit well, but ngibonile ukuthi yes, the more they say negative comments, it's the more that I must push this ministry, because I take it as a ministry, because things is abantu abaningi who, because when I first wrote the book, the comments that I got from abantu besifazane especially, Betty was khulumela because for years besingazi sokhuluma nabantu, because you go to your family, kuthiwa kuyabekezelwa, you go to church, they tell you that God hates divorce. So umuntu end up ehlala emshadweni. So ngifundile ukuthi even if I do seminars, or everyone who organizes ama seminars can attest to this, ukuthi if you call abantu to come
come
to
to the
seminars, it will be women isikhathi
Yeah.
esiningi.
Yeah.
Men don't want to attend these things, and abanye they go in as far as banqabela abantu babo ukuthi don't go there, because
Okay.
some men are threatened and they don't want to be involved with the empowered women.
Okay.
So they don't want to go there because it's why labantu bazokutshela ukuthi iphume emshadweni, because they know what is going on behind the closed doors. So yeah, that is.
So would you look at your own experience of divorce as something that has empowered you? And why would you say it has empowered you?
Abantu abangaziyo will testify ukuthi I'm not Zanele that I used to be. Ngalesikhathi ngisemshadweni. Because it divorce, as much as ibukeka ngathi it's a shame.
Yes.
Abanye bebethi oh bekudabukela, but it has trained me, and ngakwazi ukuthi sit back and look back ukuthi what are the mistakes that I did.
Okay.
Because iyakusiza into odlule kuyona ukuthi I believe ukuthi every test that you go through, you must go back when some corrections and see ukuthi where did I go wrong, you know. So after a divorce, I was able to read even iy'ncwadi zabanye abantu to empower myself and see ukuthi kuma relationships kwenzakalani, the dating game, because there's a lot that is happening with dating game, of which I didn't even have an opportunity ukuthi to go through. So emva kwalokho I became empowered and I'm stronger and wiser than before, because after a divorce or after every situation that you go through, uNkulunkulu usuke ekutrain so that you empower other people.
Wow.
Utshela umuntu ukuthi I've been through this, so now you'll go through this. And I know ukuthi manje I know my worth, because before bekunalokho ukuthi sometimes you have to please the next person and you end up forgetting about yourself.
Okay.
That is what is happening even in the abusive marriages. Nakuyo yonke into abantu, they try too hard to prove themselves ukuthi I can be a good wife, I can be a good husband, and you end up losing yourself in the process.
So there's this line of thought. Do you think you are a good person to counsel a couple if they come to you? Say a lady comes to you and say, I want to divorce. What would be your first advice? Would it be saying, get out of that thing?
No.
Yeah,
No.
because we must kill that myth. Yokucabanga ukuthi just because you went through this,
I promote.
and then umuntu ofika wesifazane uzobe umtshela the same thing ukuthi hey azishe nami ngaphuma now.
I always tell
Yes.
people ukuthi don't just say okay, ngizodivorce. I've seen uZanele divorced and survived, because you don't know what I went through.
Yes.
And as funny, you might not be able to make it njengoba kwenzakalile kumina. So I always get people, others are referred to me to I advise this person. And before benginalokho ukuthi how can I advise umuntu osemshadweni, whereas because there is this stigma. But ngabona ukuthi no, this is my ministry in such a way that I've got people abang advise because no, you must maybe do a counseling course, because it's better to tell someone ngento that you've gone through, because sometimes you tell ukuthi umuntu ufundile theory and it's not something that I experienced. So I always counsel or tell people according to my experience, and I don't promote divorce. Emphasize just because I got divorced, it doesn't mean that now divorce. It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy journey. So I won't advise anyone. Even in my book in Pali, you must try to exhaust zonke indlela
Yeah.
to try and save
To
your marriage.
avoid it.
Yes, to avoid the divorce. Then it must be at the last resort. No, I've done everything because now I didn't just divorce. I went to counseling. I did everything trying to save my marriage. But don't wait until if we are in an abusive marriage because we've seen people dying
in the
in the name of love.
Now we are trying to build a generation because I believe ukuthi one of the impacts that you need to do is to make sure that we build a strong people who are going to get married and not divorce. But if there is a group of young women and you are advising them, because now what we do, I want you to forget about the generation of the divorced. I want us to look
Yes.
at the generation now that we are going to say, these ones, they are not going to divorce. We are going to make sure they don't. Here are young girls, getting involved. You spoke about the dating game, which is something that we'll talk about again in the near future. But I want us to talk, here's a young girl saying, I think I want to get married. What would be your advice to that young girl who says, I want to get married? Do we look at age of the person? What is it that you will advise that lady to look for before taking a step of getting married?
I always tell people you must be able to answer this question. It's why do I want to get married?
Right.
Because many we have a high number of divorce cases because abantu got into marriage for wrong reasons. So if you're not sure why do you have to get married, there is no pressure because there are people who are being forced ukungena emshadweni.
Right.
Even at churches, uthola ukuthi once umuntu wasebenza kahle sekuthiwa no, even ekhaya kuthiwa now sekufanele usitholele umakoti. Those are cultural pressures. Awonile abantu ukuthi umuntu they go into umshado and they are not ready. So if you cannot answer that question, why should you get married? I think you are not ready. And especially to women, I always tell abantu there is nothing wrong about being single. Akukho nje eBhayibhelini ukuthi you would not enter heaven if ungashadile. And the sad truth ukuthi it's not everyone ozoshada.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yes.
So be content about yourself. There's akunankinga ukuthi nje satisfy yourself, know yourself more because abanye abantu they enter into marriage uthola ukuthi kwayena akanayo self awareness, akazi ukuthi uthandani. Uzofika abe inkinga emshadweni. Even in men, the Bible says a woman is a helper, but we find that a guy uyashada but he's not ready ukuthi usefuna ukusizwa. Kunamadoda angasizeki. Ngibeke kanjalo.
Ngizwa kahle. There's one thing very interesting I want to touch base with. Tracking the partner that you have divorced. Tracking hlangana nabantu abamaziyo uphi loyo wenzani lo skhotheni I wish let's look at that ukuthi if a person is still tracking a person at divorce night, what does that mean and how do you work that out? I will tell you why I say that because there has been an experience where I married a couple and then down the line they divorced and then after 3 years they came back to me, I remarried them. What can you say about that? Talk to me.
I think my advice to bantu who have problems in a relationship, in fact, there is no relationship enganama challenges.
Yes.
So abanye abantu uthola ukuthi in my upcoming book there is a chapter 80 when marriage is tested.
Okay.
Because umshado uyatestwa.
Wow.
So if isikhathi esiningi if abantu beshada we portray umshado as a land of honey, rose, a bed of roses, kanti akunjalo. So uthi umuntu mayese ethi bethola ama test endleleni bese beyasheshe bayaphuma. So ingakho ngithi mina if you are not sure, ayikho into emnandi ngokuthi give yourself time. If you have to go home, stay at home for 3 months, no bhuti asale yedwa, leso sikhathi will give both of you an assurance ukuthi is this what you want to do?
Yeah.
So that ningenzi into, because abanye they take decision to divorce out of anger, out of ukuthi ba betrayiwe. So you must give yourself time and be sure ukuthi right nge-decision. Lokho kuzokusiza nanokuthi the healing process izoba easier. We don't want ukuthi abantu we are divorced and then you end up being a bitter person if the guy moves on, get married to another woman. Uzoloku balandela, just like you were saying. So people must be sure that they are ready to take this decision, because it's a very huge decision.
It is a huge decision.
And it's
a hard decision.
The impacts on its own.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one.
But then let's look at the subject today of gender-based violence. I'm sure it has always been happening, but why is it so much in this generation now? I don't want to say it's because of the lockdown, as other people are saying.
But
Because-
there is that element as well.
Okay, take me through that one.
A generation that will speak out, a generation that breaks the silence.
Wow.
Unlike before abazali bethu, because even if you go to your parent or uma wakho say, ma, I'm not happy, mshadweni, so just njengoba ngihleli nje nami kamthetho, you think I'm happy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that happened, but the things even that we didn't know about, abazali bethu, that they hid from us because they're trying to protect the family, they try to protect the image of the father. So of which is a different case right now. Abantu besifazane, they want to break the silence, and we must raise a generation that breaks the silence, a generation ekwazi ukuthi ikwazi ukuyimela and ikwazi ukuqhubeka nempilo without depending on a man or a woman for that matter.
Wow. We'll be wrapping up in another few minutes. Talking to couples, because talking to young people who are not married may be an easy subject. I once heard in one of these clips of the video, and a woman of God, because we are church people, so everything that happens in church. And this woman of God says, ukwenza ama seminars, ama couples, she uses those words.
I think you know what you're talking about.
Yes. So, what is your take as a Christian, as a child of God? Do we have to do these couple seminars as much as at the end? I want you to speak about young people in church dating. I said we'll talk about that later, some other time, but hint on it if you can. Because now you have done a major thing, you have written a book, and we'll be expecting you to write now and again, because this is the way you speak. But the couples, do you think it's wise to call the couples together and talk, whatever you talk, couple seminars? Say something about that.
Yes, couple seminars are fine and good, and you have seen many churches doing it. My only concern is that people don't get prepared for marriage.
Right.
You only do the couple seminars. Abantu sebesemshadweni already have taken a decision to get married. Whereas it's better if you prepare, if you do the seminars for singles.
Okay.
Because that is where we must put an emphasis. Ukuthi, why do you want to get married? What are the reasons? Because many times, even the church, they've encouraged people to get married because they try to protect the image of the church.
Okay.
Because they don't even want to promote dating, because you know what will happen if you date this one, and then, So I know even in some churches, there are policies that emphasize that once you see a woman go and pay the lobola,
And talk to the pastor,
you don't even have to date because you zolingeka, So these are the things that finally we go back as a church, go back to the drawing board. Is this working now in this generation? Because I know many people who are in marriages, abanye sebephumile, who are forced to get married because there are these things of like a arranged marriage
Okay,
in churches
okay.
where you don't want to talk to, you go through your leaders
Yep.
if you want. So those are the conversations that we must have. Speak to abantu even before they get married. What, is this working? If it's not working, how can we do? What can we do so that we don't, because kade ngisho ukuthi even the church is not innocent, because
Okay.
in a way we have promoted abuse kubantu besifazane because of the things that we said, like this Bible verse ethi submit. Abantu esontweni, they've used it even nangaphandle kuthiwa submit,
Yeah.
and no one is able to explain ukuthi how do you submit. If indoda ikushaya, do you still submit to baba, because you have to submit. So those are the conversations that we might have in church. Many times sikhulume kakhulu ngeBhayibheli, even if they get abused, you go to your pastor to let's pray about it. Yes, prayer is right, but ezinye izinto you must deal with them, before even you go to prayer, but there are things that you must deal with them practically. And indaba yokukhuluma nge-abuse, it's one of the things as Caesar. We have prayed enough. It's time that we break the silence and talk about this thing, even in the churches.
Wow. Well, I did say it's a hot seat, and I can see she's really boiling, but I think, Manyambose, you have qualified to equip other women. And unfortunately or fortunately, God qualified you through the process of divorce. And because I hear T.D. Jakes once said, I don't want somebody to tell me about experiences that he or she does not have. And when I believe ukuthi uNkulunkulu has given you that experience, not for yourself, but for the generation to come. And that is why I am saying, as we are going to conclude, we must make an impact in this generation. Our voices, men and women of God, pastors out there, men in church, amadodana out there, I want to say to you, it is our responsibility to do something about what is happening. Girls, women are not killing themselves. They are killed by somebody who grew up from somewhere. And some of these young men, they grew up in church. Some of these women, they found them in church. They killed them. And it's happening every day. What we read in newspapers is not equal to what is happening on the ground. Some people down there at Umsinga, some people down there at Hlogozi, they may not talk about it, but it's those things that are happening. And what we see in newspapers today is just a glimpse of what is happening outside there. So that is why today I've invited Umanyambose. As a journalist, she has seen these things, she has written about them. But I believe that she has got a voice about it. And I admire the fact that when she went through the divorce, she said, I'm not going to be quiet. I am going to break the silence. So we are facing this situation. We are trying to build a generation ezolveluisha uthando. Ezokwazi ukuthi ngisothandweni ngizoligcina uthando. Ngifuna nje ukubuza umbuzo wokugcina to set you in the spotlight ukuthi when is it enough? When is it? Khona la umuntu athi now enough is enough. I'm exiting, I'm going. I'm not talking about people who are going to say I'm going. The next week, because those people, they cause us as pastors to be enemies.
Yeah.
They come to me and say, I say ngiyahamba baba, uyangishaya, ngihlale phansi naye, ngim-advise on the exit. The next minute, ngiyababona sebengena bobile enkonzweni, sebengibuka kabi ukuthi indoda esengiba uthi ambona uDube. The next minute they are going to change this church. They are going to leave this church because abanye abantu bashiya amabandla because of abuse eyenzekayo emndenini yabo, and umfundisi kube ngathi uyangenelela. Now, when is it enough? La uzothi khona bye bye, I'm going and I'm not coming back.
When you have had enough, you don't worry ukuthi uzolalaphi. You don't worry about how do I sustain myself.
So when you have enough, awupakishe suitcase.
No, you just leave. When I decided, this is enough, I'm going back home. I didn't plan it. You don't even tell abantu because sometimes people will
will stop
influence
you.
you,
Yes,
will stop
yes,
you.
yes.
You just go. Because abanye abantu will find, but I want to come out, but I'm not working. What am I, Sometimes you have to change even the prayer. Because most of the time, uNkulunkulu listens to your heart and kuthiwa, he admires and ukunikeza what your heart desires.
Wow.
Sometimes if you pray, because abantu will tell you at the church, kuthiwa, let's go for fasting and prayer, pray and save your marriage. You will pray that prayer, and uNkulunkulu ngempela uzoprolong the process. But once you've had enough, uzothi uNkulunkulu, I want out of this marriage. And God will do that, and God will protect you. Because sometimes abantu baye basaba ukuthi, hey, mangiphuma uzongibulala, but believe you me, I know from experience, once you don't worry about ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani, if you tell God, ukuthi, I want out of this marriage, God uzokudirector.
Wow.
And uphume ube safe njengoba nami I'm here today ngiright. So if you have had enough okwangempela, you don't worry about any other things, you just want to go out.
You are right. I saw you one of the days, and now you are training, and I saw you running and building a healthy lifestyle. So you are really projecting a new picture about you. I wonder what is coming in the new book. Tell us what is coming in the new book as a way of conclusion, and we'll be moving forward. I told you this is a hot seat. I'm sure she'll still come back, because I still have other things to ask. A lot of questions that I had prepared, I did not ask today, because I wanted her to be comfortable, and then we launch into the next one. I know that you are preparing yourself to write
The book
another
is
book.
finished.
Oh, it's finished?
Yes, it's coming out maybe before the end of this month or
Wow.
first week of July. When I wrote this book, it was not my intention to write another one, but
Okay.
the feedback that I got from abantu who have read this one, they said, no, you didn't tackle this. So the book that I've written, it has, the content is very rich. It has everything and anything that I didn't talk about in this first book. I've got chapters like embracing being single, when marriage is tested, the returned soldier,
Wow.
where I talk about abantu asebe divorcile. We talk about what does the church says about divorce and
Wow,
marriage,
wow.
why God hates divorce. So that is all what is in the book, and I'm very proud and excited because this is a good project.
Wow.
And I made sure what I do justice. I tackle ngangena kuwo wonke amakhono that I
That's
was
it.
not able to do in my first book.
So your books, you recommend them? Kuti, a man can read, a woman can read?
Everyone, someone who's single, someone who's married, someone who's a returned soldier like myself.
These are called returned soldiers, I love
Asibone
that one.
babuye ebondweni,
Okay.
asibone babuye ebondweni.
These are returned soldiers. They were at war, and they
Yes,
were
and we
fighting.
survived.
They came back, and they are still soldiers.
Yes.
You can see by their applause. Yeah, laba banqobile. Okay, all right. So we are very happy, Manyambose, I must say, and I must thank you very much for accepting this invite. It's not an easy thing to speak about your life experience, especially when we are translating it to the whole world to understand, because you may think you have exhausted the people who know about divorce, breaking the silence, only to find that we'll be getting more people who would like to know more. So for you to accept that, we are very grateful. And I just want to say to you at home, the Bible says, delight yourself in the Lord. He will give you the desires of your heart. I know that we are going to 90 days of the separation with our normal life, because of COVID-19. I do want to say we are still at that stage of COVID-19. Take care of yourself. And I said, to other people when I was talking to them, it is better to separate yourself for a time being with your friends or from your friends than for you to be separated for good when they see you in the coffin. And the last thing they see in you is your coffin being lowered to the ground. That would be most painful. Remember, COVID-19 does not have legs. Somebody takes it to the next person. If there is no reason for you to leave home, please stay at home. Protect your family. Make sure you go to wherever you are supposed to go. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to sanitize. At this moment, we are all now wearing face masks. Please do wear your face mask. We are not wearing it here because we are not close to each other and we are not like, yeah, you see, but we're up there. And lastly, I want to tell you, eat healthy. It's going to help you. Go for greens. And lastly, do the jogs and exercise, if there is a way, because I do want to speak about healthy lifestyle. And, in my Facebook, I put a picture that I took last
Before and
year,
after.
just last year at this time, wearing the same things that I was wearing at that time. And I asked my friends, ukuthi nani ngangitsheli ngani? Abantu badayisana abatshelani, nani ngangitsheli ngani? Bathi abanye asasaba ukunqunywa enkonzweni. But nevertheless, I want to thank you very much. May God richly bless you. Let God bring a new understanding to you. We are in another season. We are building a new generation. Siyanithanda kakhulu emakhaya. We'll be seeing you again on Sunday here. But please don't come to church. Remain at home. We are going to bring the service to you. On Wednesday, we are sitting here on the hot seat. I'll be bringing more people like Kumanyambose. Remain at home. If you need to know more about the book, please go to her Facebook and just do your order. Don't go to the inbox. Don't say hi's and stuff like that.
Hood.
A hood, all that. Don't do that. Just order the book. We thank you very much. God bless you. We love you.